we're going to do a little refactoring and extract markup that represent heading as well as subheading of sections into its own component, because currently to show feature section header as well as newsletter section header, we're using two different components, app features header and app newsletter header. So let's consolidate both of those components and use one instead. I'm gonna open up one of these components, for example app features header, and rename this component on app section header to have more generic name that can be reused. So now back to app features component. This is the component which shows header of the features section. Instead of using app features header component, we'll have to rename this component on app section header, since we have renamed this file previously. But of course, if we're gonna reuse this header several times, the text that have to be shown will be different. So we're going to pass the text via props. I'm going to pass the text for the heading as well as subheading in corresponding props. In here, I will use heading and subheading props. Let's use proper text for each of these props. And now to accept these props within app section header component, I'm going to firstly interpolate those props in proper places right here. And up at the top, I'm going to create script section and declare these props by using define props macro. The name will be heading and subheading, and both of these props will be strings. Before going ahead and reusing this app section header component second time within app newsletter section, let's open up browser and check that this component is rendered properly. As you can see, it is. So we are ready to reuse this app section header component to show heading and subheading for the newsletter section. Let's open up the component that represents this section. I'm basically going to replace app features header component with our new app section header component. But of course, the heading of this section is different, so we'll have to use proper text for heading and subheading props. We can take this text from app newsletter header component. Now we're going to pass it from outside into app section header component like this. And now, since we are no longer using app newsletter header component, we can simply remove it. At the end, I'm going to make sure that we have not broken anything on the page and everything is still shown properly. As you can see, everything is fine. Newsletter section heading and subheading are shown properly. Let's continue development in the next lesson.